All right, let's dive into a truly wild piece of writing. We're talking about the prologue in the Carnival of Skulls. Imagine a cosmic drama unfolding right in front of a smoking Vesuvius. It's this powerful, almost operatic argument between two incredible beings over the very meaning of existence. Our goal here is to break it all down for you, piece by piece.
You can feel it right from the opening lines, can't you? This isn't just some casual conversation. The stage is set for a massive battle of ideas. The language itself just screams grand scale and ancient conflict, and it perfectly primes us for the huge philosophical showdown that's about to happen.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll meet the key players on this cosmic stage. Then, we'll unpack their totally opposing philosophies. After that, we'll see how their debate turns into this high-stakes wager. And finally, we'll explore a fascinating third path that goes way beyond their simple duel.
Okay, let's get into it. To really get what this argument is all about, we have to know who's doing the arguing. There are three main figures in this drama, and each one represents a pretty powerful cosmic force. So, in one corner, we have Sinos, the Pale Cynic. Think of him as this mashup of Mephistopheles and Hades. He is the champion of nihilism, the idea that all of existence is just a big mistake. His opposite number is Pan, the Wild One, a mix of a gargoyle and an angel, who argues for life and the will to power. And watching this whole thing go down, the Almighty, this silent, judging figure on a throne.
So let's start with the first major argument, which comes from Sinosis. This is what we're calling the philosophy of negation. It's a really powerful case for why meaninglessness is a virtue and why death is actually perfection.
You know, Sinos isn't just playing devil's advocate here. The text literally calls him an accuser of existence itself. There's this incredible image of him gnawing on a bone of philosophy, which is just perfect for someone who wants to strip away all the messy parts of meaning until absolutely nothing is left. His entire worldview really boils down to three main points. First, he's disgusted by hope. He calls it smell putrid. Second, he believes all of creation is just a cosmic error, like some kind of cruel joke. And third, he argues that the ultimate state of perfection isn't life, but stillness. To him, the most divine thing imaginable is a dead thing. And here's his proof, his mic drop moment. He points to the clotted blood of Saint Januarius. Because it's not turning to liquid, he sees it as the perfect symbol for his entire philosophy, that all of life, all of that striving, eventually just grinds to a halt in a cold, meaningless stillness.
But of course, that is only one side of the story. Now we get to hear Pan's fiery, passionate counterargument.
What's so cool about Pan is that his philosophy comes directly from who he is. Sinos even tries to use it against him, calling him a walking contradiction. But Pan just owns it. He fully embraces this split between beast and angel, seeing that internal conflict is the very engine that drives life forward.
Pan's philosophy is a direct shot back at everything Sinos stands for. He says that struggle is divine, that the wild, Dionysian frenzy of life will always triumph over cold, gray logic, and he believes that the core force of existence, what he calls the will to power, is like an acid that melts all glass coffins, shattering that stillness that Sinos worships.
I mean, what a line. Remember how Sinos smelled the putrid stench of hope? Well, Pan takes that and flips it completely. To him, that same smell is divine. It's the beautiful, chaotic proof of life fighting to exist and to create its own meaning, right in the face of nihilism. So let's just put these two worldviews side by side for a second. For Sinos, existence is a mistake, and stillness is perfection. For Pan, struggle is what justifies existence, and movement is divine. Sinos thinks hope is rotten, Pan thinks it's the very scent of life. It's this incredible clash between the quest for meaninglessness and the quest for self-justification. Now, this philosophical debate doesn't just stay in the clouds. It comes crashing down to earth and solidifies into a very real bet, a kind of Faustian pact with the meaning of the entire cosmos hanging in the balance.
Okay, so here are the terms. Pan bets that he can make that clotted blood turn to liquid, not with prayer, but with the sheer force of his will to power. If he pulls it off, Sinos has to admit that negation isn't the final answer, but just a step toward a much bigger affirmation of life. Sinos, of course, accepts the bet. He's totally confident that the blood will stay clotted, giving him a permanent victory for his gospel of the void.
But here's where things get really fascinating. The story doesn't just end with a simple winner and loser. It introduces a third, much more complex idea, a kind of synthesis of the two.
And that concept is called Untergang. It's a German term from philosophy that basically means the going under. Now, the most important thing to get here is that this isn't about failure. It's a deliberate act of self-destruction that you use like a ladder to climb to a higher state of being. You have to destroy what you are now to become what you could be.
This image is just a perfect metaphor for it, the Icarus inversion. We usually think of the Icarus story as a warning about flying too high, but Untergang flips that script. It reframes his fall as a kind of victory. The act of falling, of destruction, becomes this heroic moment of radical striving, a necessary step to reach something greater.
So, Untergang becomes this third path. It's not about choosing a side. It says no to the cosmic prison of perfect reason, that cold, dead stillness that Sinos loves. But it also rejects the horror of absolute chaos. It's about taking elements from both sides to create something entirely new and more powerful.
And this really shows that we're not just talking about some small-time debate. This reflects a universal struggle, a cosmic schism between what the Source calls imposed order and primal resurgence. It's the battle between the sterile logic of the machine, represented by Sinos, and the messy, chaotic, beautiful instinct of life, which is all Pan.
And that brings us to the grand synthesis of the whole argument. Destruction, the very force that Sinos worships, isn't the end of the story. Instead, it becomes a crucial tool for creation. It's the no that you have to go through to get to Pan's greater, wilder yes.
So if there's one really crucial point to take away from all this, it's this. The prologue is a cosmic dialectic. You've got Sinos's thesis, which is negation. You have Pan's antithesis, which is affirmation. And then you get the ultimate synthesis in Untergang, where destruction itself becomes a creative force. Negation isn't the enemy of life, it's just a vital part of the process.
And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on, doesn't it? If destruction really is a necessary tool for creation, what parts of ourselves, our beliefs, or our world do we have to be willing to let go of in order to build something higher?